We're back.
Are we?
Well, welcome back to Tea and a Buddy.
Hello.
We're back.
Are we?
Sort of. Yeah. And we're gonna...
Where did we go?
We went somewhere. We're back. It's slightly revamped. We're going to be focusing more Anglophenia type things or Anglophiles sort of things. And
Right.
like
Comparing and contrasting.
comparing and contrasting the differences between the United Kingdom and the United States.
Yeah. So just sort of...
Yeah, so it's just like
Kind
on
of
this
everything.
on this episode we're going to talk about what makes Britain great. Yeah. It's tea.
Make Britain great again.
Make Britain great again, or make a cup of tea great again.
Tea, yes.
Tea! Like our name, Tea and a Buddy. So we thought that's a perfect way to kick off this adventure.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, why do you think it's such a big thing in Britain?
I have no idea. I mean, it's gonna go back.
Or why has it been such a big thing in Britain for the last 100 or 200 years, I think? Because I think it was like back in
200 years only?
It's relatively modern. I mean, back in the Middle Ages and stuff, people were drinking mead
Oh, right.
and the king.
But, I'm thinking like Boston Tea Party over here,
Yeah, it's around the same sort of period,
that it only just became popular. Well, I guess so, because does it have to do with India? Does it have to do
pretty
with Britain
much.
being in India?
Yeah,
Is that where it came from?
That's where it started.
Okay.
Really, the popularity, because the East India Company. Do you remember that show with Tom Hardy?
Oh, right.
I
Yeah.
can't remember what it was called now. It was that.
Somebody out there will know.
Somebody out there will know. Yeah, we watched it, and I think they only did one series, but I think it might be coming back. But
That was a really good show, guys, by the way.
yeah, it was a really good show, but we can't remember the name of.
We'll put it in the, description of this
And it's,
podcast, yeah.
It may come to us later on.
Or
we'll just
somebody
go-
leave in the comments.
But anyway, this show that Tom Hardy was in, he was kind of against the East India Company, which were a big company at the time. They had ships that rivaled the Royal Navy even,
Yeah.
and this was back in like the 17th and 18th centuries. And they go to India and Sri Lanka and all the, and they just basically trade in tea. They'd take, because the British had colonized India and they'd started up tea plantations there and stuff, and in Africa too.
Right.
And they'd take all the tea back to Britain, and the king and the queen and everyone drank it, so it just caught on really big over there.
Yeah. It was
And-
probably seen as something sort of fancy in the beginning.
Well, yeah, because
it
the
came
royalty
from somewhere
it
exotic.
came from
and-
somewhere exotic,
Yeah.
and Francis Drake was the one who introduced the potato and tobacco to England. No, Walter Raleigh.
Walter Raleigh,
Francis
there
Drake.
you go.
See, getting my history mixed
John
up.
Lennon will tell
John
you who
Lennon.
it was.
Such a stupid get was sold.
Yeah.
Walter Raleigh,
Yes.
who introduced tobacco anyway. Walter Raleigh did, but I don't know if he did with tea or whatever. But
Yeah.
it just caught on because, I think it really started getting popular when Queen Victoria
Oh,
started drinking
right.
it. It's like people over here, they drink tea.
Well, yeah.
They drink
mean,
hot tea, but they
obviously-
don't drink it like the British way with milk in.
Yeah.
It's not really popular over here with that. No, that's a bit strange, really. But
I mean, we drink hot
I'm
tea.
having tea now, actually,
We drink hot
with
tea.
milk in.
We don't drink hot tea so much here in Texas or in the South.
Well,
That's iced tea.
Yeah, it's iced tea.
Because the weather doesn't call for hot tea most of the time here.
Mm.
But I mean, you do find people who drink it. They drink more herbal teas here though than just the black tea with milk in. Like you would have
Peppermint and
lemon tea,
herbal tea,
or mint tea, chamomile.
yeah, stuff that you can't really. Earl Grey. I mean, even Earl Grey, you can't put milk in that. I mean, people have, but it's
Ugh. No,
it's not very good.
it's not right.
I did it once accidentally, and then never again. Really, But
But I mean, it makes sense that we do have tea over here because obviously, the British are the ones that came over here, so they would have
Pilgrims.
They would have brought their
England.
tea with them, and the tradition and all of that. But I don't really know if we have any listeners in like the New England area. I'm wondering.
Where are you, my New England listeners?
I wonder if they drink hot tea with milk. When they have hot tea, I wonder if they drink it with milk just because, like, families who have stayed in that area generation after generation, maybe they might still have
descended from British
more
people.
of the British traditions than, like, those who venture farther west, you know.
Why did Britain start doing it, really?
With milk, you mean? I have no idea.
And I just
don't
looked this up now on the amazing fad known as the internet.
Yeah, because I don't imagine they do it in India, or
they might do because there's still a lot of like hangover from the British colony.
Yeah.
I mean, they all pretty much speak English over there.
Right.
But
generalizing.
Yeah, they might not now. But it's like in the 17th and 18th centuries, milk was always added before the tea because it was in these like fine china cups.
I don't like a lot of milk in my tea.
But if they put hot tea in, it would crack the cup.
Oh.
So they had to put the milk in to cool it.
Makes sense.
And I mean, people.
So maybe that's where the milk came from in the first place.
Well, that's where it came. That's where it started. But I mean, it didn't really catch on until much later on.
And then
I
people
think
were just like, oh, actually,
it tastes all right with sugar and and stuff like that. Yeah, there's ways to make tea. I mean, people it's like the scones with cream and jam first. And all that,
right.
You know? It's like, do you put your milk in first or you put it after the tea's?
Yeah.
People like, oh, put the milk in first, and stuff. And I mean, I'm a milk afterwards sort of fellow.
I feel like you can sort of control.
And people
it
go,
more,
it's if you put the milk in
not
first,
control but...
if you put the milk in afterwards, it alters the flavor of the tea and. It's like the wine drinkers. The people are like, oh, you got to drink this outside. If you drink this outside, it'll taste better, whatever.
Right.
Tea connoisseurs.
Well, I mean, there's people in Britain, talking of tea connoisseurs, there's people in Britain who swear that different brands of tea taste different. Like PG Tips.
Well, I think certain brands of tea that are
Yorkshire
better.
tea.
Yorkshire Gold. You can't beat a bit of Yorkshire Gold.
I mean, if I'm
Shout
being
out
honest,
to the Yorkshire Gold.
maybe it's the American
Yorkshire.
in me.
Yeah.
They all taste the same. They all taste the same to me. I don't know.
See, you've got to grow up with the Yorkshire
You put the milk in, you put the sugar
PG
in,
Tips.
like it all tastes the same. You could get Tatley, you could get Lipton over here even, you could get Louisiana, you could get anything. Anything that's black tea. I mean, they all taste the same to me. I really do not taste the difference. I mean, British friends out there.
They're not your friends anymore now. Because you're saying all tea tastes the same. You're just like, oh.
Be honest with yourself. Is there
Traitor.
an actual difference in the flavor? But is there an actual difference in the flavor?
I find that Yorkshire Gold...
I mean, you know what we should do? We should do a taste test one day, like different brands,
I think
you tell me
blind
whether
taste,
you can
blind taste.
Well, I mean, I don't think you're going to be able
to taste exactly what
you're not
Actually,
gonna
is there anyone out there that can tell the difference between PG Tips and Yorkshire Gold and Tetley? If we blindfolded you and made a cup and made you drink it and
right,
oh yes, this is PG Tips,
I don't.
2005.
I don't believe it. I don't believe there is anyone out there.
You never know. I'd be interested to see that anyway.
Yeah, we could. I would say we could do that, but it probably wouldn't make for very interesting listening.
It would have to be a camera.
Okay, guys. Now he's gonna try the one in the white mug. Our
podcast is for like night driving people who are driving. They fall asleep at the wheel and they go into the path of an oncoming semi. And,
yes.
But because over here tea isn't that drunk. It's not like a national obsession. And I mean, that's got to do with the Revolutionary War. It's not a bigger thing over here because of the Revolutionary War and the Boston Tea Party and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Because, I mean, the Revolutionary War, I think that ended in like the 1780s. I mean, 1776 is when the Declaration of Independence was signed, but the war didn't end for years afterwards, you know. And there was a boycott on tea by John Adams.
Yeah.
John Adams put out this boycott on tea because it was a traitor's drink. He said, oh, it's a traitor's drink.
Okay, right. Okay, so this makes sense.
And he said to all restaurants and, you know, tea shops, you got to become coffee drinkers. Because, you know, because Britain was obsessed with tea, and, you know, it's like that became like a thing of British people, as it obviously...
Yeah.
The stereotype is permeated throughout the centuries.
That makes sense. So we just stopped drinking tea.
To boycott tea was to boycott Britain.
We didn't want to be... We didn't want to be
we're going to drink coffee
anymore.
now. And that's how you developed a taste for coffee over here. Like
Who did?
You.
No, not me.
Oh, you're a traitor to everyone today, aren't you?
I don't drink coffee.
Who are you? Yeah, you don't drink coffee. I like coffee too, you know. So I'm either or, but...
Yeah, I mean, our coffee thing must just come from our proximity to Colombia and,
maybe,
where the coffee is grown, you know.
Yeah.
It makes sense. We do coffee, you guys do tea. It's just like...
Yeah, because, I mean, the tea thing, you know, like the
but
boycott
I mean,
tea...
they drink coffee everywhere now.
Yeah, I mean, they drink coffee in Britain. I mean, you know, it's not like you're not going to go... Like, people who've never been to Britain... Who might be listening, you're not going to go to England and never find a cup of coffee anywhere.
Right.
And I mean, and
there's a Starbucks in every small town.
You know, you're going to find a good cup of coffee somewhere. I mean, you know, you just have to look at people who travel on, you know, like we watch travelers on the YouTube.
Yeah.
On that there YouTube. And
everywhere around the world. Sometimes I'm kind of surprised in the countries where they can get an iced coffee
iced coffee, or, you know, like, you know, you can go to, like, Uganda or something and get an iced coffee, you know. Might be a Starbucks there, who knows.
I would not be surprised.
Probably in Kampala. But, yeah, iced tea is a big thing over here.
Well, yes.
In the
South, particularly. You know,
I think it's got to be in California too. I can see them drinking iced tea in California.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, my uncle lives in California, and he says
when you
he
go out
orders
to a
an
restaurant,
Arnold Palmer all the time.
Oh, that's really good. That's probably my favorite drink. American drink.
I mean, that's the way. Yeah. I never like called it an Arnold Palmer because the way my grandma always made iced tea when I was growing up was with a lot of lemon. Yeah. So it was already sort of like a combination lemonade and tea.
For people who don't know what an Arnold Palmer is, it's half iced tea, half lemonade. Like a not lemonade like you get in Britain that's like carbonated and fizzy. It's like the cloudy, fresh lemonade, you know?
Yeah. And it's named after
the golfer, Arnold Palmer, because that was his like signature drink.
Apparently, yeah. I mean, I don't think he didn't invent
it.
He didn't.
I think people think he did.
I mean, yeah, people who had never...
He popularized it anyway, but, you know, I think it was already big, you know.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know if it's, like, a common thing. It's the way I grew up with iced tea, though, was with a lot of lemon. A lot of lemon and a lot of sugar. If we're being honest. But, so I don't know if that's, like, if that's how most people drink their iced tea. I mean, my other grandmother, actually, she didn't put any lemon in it. So I guess it's not how most people, but most of the time when I had iced tea, it always had a lot of lemon in it, which is probably my favorite way to drink iced tea. It's just very refreshing in the the summer. And
well, yeah, it's in the summer heat, there's nothing like iced tea. And I think it probably... I mean, I remember having iced tea. I remember having Lipton ice. That's what it was called in Britain when I was a kid. Because before the EU put all these kind of like restrictions on like sugar and high fructose corn syrup and stuff like that. You know, this was like in the mid-90s. In the early 90s, you could get like most American things, you know, in the shop. And I remember when I was a kid, I'd want like Lipton ice, and it was iced tea in like a can, or it was in a can. Mm-hmm. And I think it was like lemon.
Yeah.
And you know, I'd be drinking it, and it was a refreshing kind of drink. I think it was. I can't remember if it was fizzy or not, but I don't think it was.
You know, I don't know if I'm just making this up, Like, I don't know if I'm lying to myself or...
But then it all disappeared in the UK, and then, you know...
My first trip to New York City, which was eons ago, I swear that I went in some restaurant and tried to order an iced tea, because this is what I usually, rather than soda, this is what I usually order when I go to a restaurant, iced tea with my dinner. And I swear I ordered an iced tea in some restaurant in New York City, and they were like, no, we don't have that. And I was just like, what? I can't remember if this is true or if I'm imagining this, but because I can't remember what the restaurant was or what, you know, because it was so long ago. But I'm sure that happened. I mean, obviously, surely they have iced tea in most restaurants.
Yeah, I'd
now,
imagine they'd have iced tea. I mean,
but I think there was a period of time where, like, even in the northern states, it wasn't really super, super common to have iced tea.
I mean, it's not common at all in Britain. You can't get it in Britain.
Yeah.
If you go to a restaurant in Britain and you ask for iced tea, they'd be like, what?
Well, didn't that happen to you? You were with some Americans, weren't you?
Yeah, I was with
in Liverpool.
The Fab Four in Liverpool,
mm-hmm.
and we went in. They're a Beatles tribute band, and we went into this restaurant. It was it was fancy. It was a little bit more upscale than your casual one. And they all said, "Oh, what do you want to drink?" And they all said iced tea. Or this Jerry Hoban, actually, who played the Ed Sullivan, actually said iced tea. And everybody else ordered Coke or whatever, and soda or water or whatever. And they kind of looked at him like, what? And he says, oh, it's iced tea. But they went ahead and did it, but they brought him a cup of hot tea and a glass of ice.
Yeah.
And I remember him looking at me and just, with a spoon, to spoon the ice in. He puts the ice in, it melts almost immediately. And I'm just like, yeah, they don't know what that is over here, I think I told him before, I said, yeah, they're not going to have it. It's like they don't know what it is, it's not commonly drunk over here because it's always cold.
Yeah.
In weather-wise, and it's just not, drunk. It's not the done thing. Hot tea. If you ordered a cup of hot tea,
You can get it though, can't you? Because I seem to remember seeing Lipton in a bottle in the grocery store.
As I said, it disappeared for a long time. I couldn't get it when I was a teenager, but now it started creeping back in, and with Brexit seemingly happening, there's probably going to be a lot more American. I mean, I think the growing popularity of the internet and YouTube and everybody seeing different things from around the world has opened people's eyes, and you're starting to get in American products, they're opening up specialty shops and stuff, with Lucky Charms and Hershey bars and all that. And,
yeah.
And stuff like that, and iced tea, and root beer. That's another thing. It's not nowhere in Britain. But for another podcast. But yeah, I mean, speaking of the tea's popularity in Britain, I think that it's kind of been on the decline.
Really?
Yeah, it's been on the decline. I mean, when I was a kid, kids,
fake news.
It's no, I mean, you're just basing it off my dad and my gran who used to drink tea like it was going out of fashion, literally, and it is going out of fashion. It really is, because do a little poll here of our British listeners, and it's like, do you drink tea every day? Do you drink, how many cups do you drink? I mean, I drink it still because I kind of grew up drinking it, so it's just something I have in the mornings, really. I don't really have it all day.
Throughout the day, yeah.
I mean, if I was living in the UK and I had access to a proper kettle, then maybe,
I feel like it's more of to me, it feels more morning-ish. I don't know.
Yes, I mean, it's called that.
It's like people
English
drink
breakfast tea as well
in the morning. Well, breakfast tea, yeah.
Yeah, you have it with breakfast and.
Or toast. Maybe after dinner with biscuits.
Biscuits.
Yeah.
The tea and biscuits. Tea and biscuits. Yeah. Who do you? It's like, we saw on Twitter and stuff like that. Someone talks about a rich tea.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's that? Never heard of that at all.
Yeah.
And someone goes, what do you dunk?
What do you dunk in?
Biscuits is probably going to be the next podcast, because That's a whole.
It's a whole. Oh yes.
It's a whole topic
unto itself.
unto itself. I mean, over here, you have cookies and stuff, but biscuits is like.
Yes.
But yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it would be interesting.
Peak tea.
Let us know in the comments though if you agree with Dominic. If you're British,
comment on the blog post or send a tweet to @tbutty.
Yeah,
that's our Twitter. Mm-hmm. Just do a search, give us a follow and a like and everything if you love it. But tea popularity in Britain and consumption, right? It's less than half it was during World War II.
Is it? How do they know this?
They've done research.
Census?
Tea research. Peak tea research. Scientists, sod cancer, we need to find out how much tea Britain is drinking. Yeah.
Those are things we need to know.
Because we now consume less than half the British people now consume half the amount of tea than they did during World War II when it was rationed. It was rationed back then. Now you can get it by the truckload.
I have a feeling it has to do with time.
Peak tea was in 1956, by the way.
I have a feeling it has to do with time. You know what I mean? People just don't have time. It takes a while to boil the kettle. Well, if you have an electric kettle.
No, it doesn't. Electric kettles, they're getting faster.
Okay, but then you have to wait on the tea to cool down just a little bit before you can start drinking it. And then you're not going to just chug down a cup of hot tea, are you? It's like a
If you were my gran, you would. Asbestos mouth.
It's a thing you, drink slowly and, you enjoy your morning and everything. Nobody's got time for that anymore. Maybe...
Ain't nobody got time for that. But it's just like...
Nobody's...
But it's just like, it's really like, it's kind of like, that's something that's common in Britain, is like a kettle. A kettle is in every home. Over here, you don't see that, obviously, because, no one boils water.
We mentioned Starbucks and coffee shops. You do see to-go coffee cups all the time everywhere. These places you go in, you get the coffee, you go. You don't really see people going in and getting tea to go. Maybe there we go. We need to open up a
tea shop.
A tea place. Tea bucks.
You're just giving people ideas here, No, I think, I think it's...
Tea to go, rather... That tea place that we used to go to in the Domain, it's now closed.
The steeping room, yeah.
But it was like you go in, and it was a very leisurely, it kind of felt like a luxurious thing to do when you went in there. It was like a quiet little...
And it's not...
Why don't people get tea to go? Like, they get a coffee and they go. Why don't
hot coffee, yeah.
Yeah, why don't they get a hot tea to go?
They do. I mean, they do serve tea in Starbucks.
Yeah, but who's going in Starbucks and ordering a tea? I mean, I guess they get,
I'll tell you who's going in Starbucks and ordering a tea. Hipsters. And they're going to be the ones who bring back the tea revival in Britain. Get your beards out. Get your beards out. They're coming.
Hipsters.
Yeah, they are. They're going to revive the trend, because apparently,
well, yeah,
like in the 60s, right, in Britain.
I mean, people aren't going to suddenly just not drink tea
60s,
altogether.
70s, there used to be this thing in Britain, like in offices called the tea lady, and throughout into the 90s, it doesn't really happen now because they've got automatic tea and coffee and all that. There used to be this old woman in a apron with a rattly old tea trolley. Tea's made. She's got this big, huge silver vat of tea. And, she says, do you want a cup of tea, love?
Yeah.
And she'd come down and so then she was an old woman. She'd been...
that was the way she said it.
And she'd been doing it since the war,
Yeah.
And she'd looked like that in the war, too. She was never young. This woman was born looking like that.
Yes.
And she'd go down and, with a cup of tea. And you used to make fun of, we'd be watching British shows like Life on Mars and stuff like that, where they're all acting like tough guys and going out punching people and all that. Yeah. And then they'd have cups of tea.
It's like a tea break.
Oh, they're not going for beers like real men. They're having cups of tea. But it's like, oh, taking a tea break. It's like, yeah, because that's what you do in Britain. It's like, that's the special stuff, isn't it?
They're all just
Like
standing
the
around.
Ruffles,
They're all just standing around daintily holding their freaking saucers and everything with their little cups.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously it's big mugs, isn't it? Mugs in Yorkshire. You on about your daft Apeworth?
Oh, God. All right, well.
Well,
I think we've run that
I
topic
think we've run that topic into the ground. If you never want a cup of tea again, blame us. But, yeah. This has been great. I really enjoyed having you on.
So that was...
Who are you again?
I know. I don't even remember. I've been gone so long.
Yeah. Well, I'm Dominic, and this is Erica. And
Hello.
she's my wife, and I'm her husband. Yeah. And it's cute. But yes, we'll see you on the next episode. Give us a follow. Give us a tweet. Tweet us all your concerns. If you're what's the thing the kids say now? Triggered. If you're triggered by this tea episode.
Yes.
If you drink tea and you think we're just awful talking about things, but you just send us your hate, because we get all the hate mail. If you're mad about anyone in the world, just send it to us. We'll deal with it. If you want to rant about anything, never see this show. Okay, never see this show. Yes, give us a follow. Join the discussion on Facebook. Got a Facebook group called Tea and a Butty. Yeah. I mean, it's mostly still Beatles focused.
We're transitioning.
We're in
transition.
We're in transition, and the Beatles drank tea. I know that for a fact.
There you go. There's a Beatles reference.
Beatles reference, and of course the Ruttles drank it. There's another reference for you.
But yeah, so we're slowly going to transition everything over to Tea and a Butty. We're still going to talk about the Beatles.
Sometimes.
But we're going to talk about just everything and...
Everything between, it's kind of focused heavily on the British and American cultures. I think the next podcast is going to be biscuits.
Sounds good.
So, biscuits.
Who doesn't like a good biscuit?
And if you want...
That's cookies,
if you're
by
American...
the way.
Yeah, that's cookies. If you're American, I'm going, yeah, I do like biscuits and gravy.
Biscuits and gravy.
Okay.
See ya.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks a lot for coming.
Bye.
Bye.